Hello, welcome to my tutorial on solving a 3x3 Rubik's Cube. I've always wanted to do this, and now with the quarantine, I have nothing but free time. So let's jump right in. If you're new to solving, I'm going to give you some fundamental things, some things to know. First of all, a lot of people beginning Rubik's Cube mistakes is that you have to solve color by color, I'm going to solve all the white side and then the red side, the blue side, and you can't think of it like that because it's a 3D jigsaw puzzle. Each one of these pieces is completely unique. So there's a white-green piece here, there's a white-green-red piece here. There's only one piece that has these three colors, and then one piece that has these two colors. So if you think of it like a 3D jigsaw puzzle, this white-green piece has to sit in between white and green. That's the only place that he can be. Likewise, a corner piece like white, orange, green can only sit in between white, orange, and green. He can only live right there. So the first step is to create the white cross. This is like the foundation of the house. Everything is going to be built from this. It's important too that the white cross has to also connect to the color beneath it. So a white cross that looks like this is not correct. The white cross has to also match the color beneath it. White on white, red on red. And you have to do this before you can go on for the beginner's method. So let's jump right into that. I'm going to do a couple examples on different cubes. I made these cubes. This is a sides-only cube. This is a corners-only cube. And this is just the first two layers. We're going to be jumping into these to show certain examples so you can have an isolated look at what the pieces are doing and you don't get overwhelmed by... Because there's so many colors on this that a lot of times people have trouble figuring out which white piece they're looking at, which side piece. So these are going to be some visual aids we'll get to later, but let's jump in on this so you can see it in action first. If you think of the cube as having axes, so this white one would be, you want this on top the whole time, and then you can turn it around, and at some point we're going to flip it over, but call white on top right now. What you want to do is bring up the side pieces to match the white. So you don't ever want to turn it half, or you don't want to turn it from the middle. You only want to turn from the outers or the top or the bottom, for now at least. So white blue needs to match up with white blue. Easiest way to get that from here, we could do it in two moves. We're going to bring this white blue up like this, and then we can turn it so that he matches white on white and blue on blue. We're going to do that for all the other ones and try and not bump this out of the way. We might have to, but we're going to try not to. So here's our white-orange piece, and white-orange has to be on white-orange. Right now, white-green is in the way. So first, we're going to get this white-orange piece underneath where he has to go. So we're going to bring him here. Now, you can't really put up a side piece from the bottom here. So what we want to do is get him up to the second layer. So I'm going to turn him like this, and he's going to be into a layer where we can affect him. Now, just like I brought up the blue piece, if I were to bring this up to match the white, it matches the white, but it's kicking out this blue piece. So we don't want to do that. So what we want to do is create a free cell. So we're going to move him out of the way so he doesn't get bumped out. So he's going to sit there now, and this piece can rotate up. Now, orange isn't matching right now, but if we move it right back, we're going to have white matching white, orange matching orange, and white on white and blue on blue. So we have half of the white cross correct right now. Red, this one's super easy. This one just needs to come right up, and we have white on white, red on red. White green. It's the same thing we said before. I can't just turn him up because it's going to be bumping out this piece that's already correct. So what we want to do is make a free cell. So he's getting out of the way to make room for him to come up. Then if we bring him back, green will match green, white will match white. So if you look at these, this is all matching now. It should look exactly like this, taking out all the static there. All right. So that is the first step. I'll do it one more time from the beginning so you can follow along. I say follow along. The hardest part about Rubik's Cube tutorials is not starting at the same place. Every scramble is different. There's more scrambles than stars in the universe or something poetic like that. So it's hard to follow along exactly. But if you can try to find a piece that needs to go, and you don't have to do it in that order, but the blue, orange, green, red order will help later for some things. But for now, just find any piece. So we'll start with white, orange. This is the easiest one to put up right now. He can just come up, and then you can follow him and take orange over to orange. So we've got white on white, orange on orange. See, this one is going to be tricky. Here's white, red. White, red has to go here. So the easiest way to do that is to join him up like this and then back. So he still matches and he still matches. Here's a tricky one. So blue, white is down here, but blue, white needs to be up here. So if you can think of it as him coming around, so he's sitting underneath where he's going to be, then you can just rotate him right up into his spot. This is the hardest case here. I already did it earlier. Let's cover it because it is hard. Right now, white-green is underneath where he needs to be, but if I turn him, he's wrong. He's facing the wrong direction. He is flipped. So the only way to deal with this is to bring him up to the second layer, so now he's in a position where he can come up like the carousel thing we talked about earlier. But once again, this space is occupied. If you bring him up, it would bump out the orange. So we're going to create the free cell so that this piece is negligible. This piece doesn't matter. And you can bring up the white, green, and back. And now we've got our white cross one more time. This is the fundamental beginning of the beginner's method. So this is something that you have to master and be able to do every time before moving on to the next step. I think we're going to separate these into different parts. We're going to do a 7-video channel on this, so you can jump to whichever layer you're working on or backtrack and not have to zip around in a video to find just the one moment. So practice that. Try to do it 3 times in a row without getting stuck before you move on to the corners, because this part is tricky because finding where the piece is on the cube now, it can be so far away from where it needs to go. Later on, we're going to be getting into more. There's only so many ways it can look. Right now, it's the most chaotic, which means that this part is still a challenge, even for people who do this all the time. Trying to figure, like, this is the opening move is crucial to, especially if you want to get it fast. Or so we'll try it one more time before we end this video. Right now, we've got white, orange already where it needs to be, but he's not matching up on green. So we want to move him over here. So white matches white, orange matches orange. White, blue, this should be easy. We put him underneath where he ought to be. So we're going to move him under, and now he's underneath where he should belong, and then we can bring him up, and he matches, and he matches. This is another easy one. Red, we can put him where he matches on red, right underneath where he ought to go, and then spin him up so he matches. Here's the hard case. We need to bring him off of the bottom layer onto here, create the free cell, bring him up, and then back. You might run into a situation where you have your white cross, but pieces are up, but they aren't where they ought to go. So the easiest way to do this is to find the pair that are wrong. So this white, orange is correct, white, blue is correct. These two are incorrect. The easiest way to do is bring down one of the ones that's wrong, put the other one that's wrong in the same spot that this one was in, and then kick him out. Then move this free cell back, and the one you kicked out's here, and you can bring him back up. It's a 4-move thing. I don't want to try to teach algorithms right, left, up, right now. I want to do very visually. That's how I learned. But let's try it one more time. So these two are incorrect. We're going to bring him down. We're going to move the one that needs to be swapped into the same place he was. Kick him out. Bring this back, and then the piece that you bumped out is back here still, and you can bring him up to match this side. Ignore this. We're just doing white cross right now. All right, so that is basically all the cases that we're going to have for white cross. I'm going to move on to corners. and we'll do a review later on.